Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is TimBatSea and I'm fresh out of the shower and they've got me moving this 50 back over to that barge you see right in the window right over there. So I'm going to move that there so I can get this barge and take it to a ship. So let's see how this goes. Alright Trey, go ahead and let him go. You can start right there and work forward.
Copy that.
Alright, test steering, test engines. Now Luke brought this barge in yesterday and he told me that this was a really heavy barge. And that might sound really strange. You would think that they're all heavy when they're loaded. But there are some barges we refer to as being heavy just because they don't seem to want to work. They don't want to do what we want them to do at times. And apparently this is one. And Lord knows, Luke can usually make a barge do anything he wants. So my plan, because of the way this dock is, for some reason, I don't know if you remember, but up here in Port Newark, I always seem to get pulled in towards the side of the dock. I don't know if it's the hydraulics or what, but I mean, the under, you know, how everything's set up underneath the dock. I don't know what it is. Doesn't seem like there's a river or anything, but I always get sucked over to my starboard side. So my plan right now is to kind of push the bow in and bring the stern out just a little bit and then back up so I can get on that barge behind us. Hey, once you get all done there, Trey, tell the tankerman we're going to need his Yokohamas down once we get out, once we get away from this guy.
Copy that.
And be nice to the tankerman on the 301. We're coming right back to get him. Coffee's good this morning. So right now I'm just doing a right twist in clutch. See it slowly bring the stern out. See right over here. Watching that corner open up a little bit. Now these big barges don't have the rubber around the corners, but you can see the barge over here has a little bit of rubber around the corner, and that means it's got a little bit of rubber up on around its bow too. So I have a feeling that as I roll around up here, I'll come off of their forward Yokohama, right where that tankerman is standing right now. I'll probably roll past that, and then when I normally go metal to metal.
Alright, Cap, we got one more line.
Very good. Yeah, instead of going to metal to metal, it should go right to the rubber. So that's my plan anyway. But that should do it as far as an angle for backing up. Much as I probably overdid it, it'll take me forever to get back to the dock now. Alright, very good, here we go. So what I've done now is I've straightened my rudder back to midship and I start backing on both engines.
Looking good, you got coverage on this first yoke right here. Line back, probably about a bit. Very
good.
peeling back from this yoke, probably about a good 2 feet off.
Very good. So I'm not gaining as much because I am starting to, my stern is starting to I'm starting to flatten out with him as I get sucked over towards that part of the dock. So
Alrighty, we holding him about a good 3 wide, just past the midship.
Hey, when you look down the barge, down this way, and you see the next barge, you can see in between them, right? We haven't closed on that next barge yet, have we?
No, you haven't closed. I can see directly on the side of that this barge right here.
All right, good deal. So I kind of knew that anyway, but
He already dropped your stern Yokohama, so I don't know if you want to pivot off that.
yeah, we might have to.
Copy.
Yeah, I kind of knew that we were open on this, but this is a deckhand that's working
like
over for us.
Just now passing the bow of that barge. Looks like we're holding him about a good 10 wide.
Very good. So, what I do sometimes is I will go and ask them questions that I know the answer to, just to see where they're at. And you know, that has to do with experience and perception too. So I might ask how far off we are, and if we're 10 feet.
Alright, you slowly open it up now, about a good 20 wide.
Very good. So if say we're 12 foot off of something, and I ask him how far off we are, if he says that we're 10 feet off, then I know he's being conservative. He says we're 15 feet off, then I know that he's being rather liberal with his numbers. So that's something I have to watch out for. And in this case, he's doing a fine job. So everything's cool. The bow is starting to fall in a little bit.
Still holding about 20 wide. Slowly coming back. Everything's looking pretty good.
Very good. Now I gotta call this other barge. On the DS-304, Anacostia. Hey, we're coming alongside you. Maybe you come out and grab a line from us. Alright, so I'm doing...
Alright, the DS-304 just now passing midships. Probably holding about a good 15 now.
Very good. I've been doing a left twist because that bow was falling in, and that seems to be working. Now I'm gonna...
Alright, if you come back about another good 10 more feet, you'll have coverage on this last yoke on our bow.
Alright. So now what I'm trying to do is almost stall the barge out. I'm trying to get with the rudder hard over to port, coming ahead I'm hooking it up, just about hooking it up on the starboard engine. Trying to stop my backing motion. But I'm trying to get the stern to come over. Alright.
Last yoke on our stern is about a good, closing in about a good 10 wide, closing in at 10 wide on the stern.
Very good. So now I've got movement of the stern coming over, and I'm watching it. I'm putting my rudder hard right. The bow is coming out, so now I'm going to do a right twist. Try to stop that bow. Alright, I got to go and I'm going to get your bow back, and then we'll get you a bow line. Alright? So the stern's going to come out, and the bow is going to come in.
Copy that.
So that was a big fail on my part. I was hoping that I could bring that bow, I could bring the stern over, and I wouldn't have lost the bow as much as I did. For reasons I can't explain, that bow just wanted to go. Isn't that funny? When I'm coming in between those two barges, I get sucked right towards the dock. Then when I want to get that same direction, I come over here and everything pushes me away.
Our bow yoke is probably about a good 5 wide from the DS-305.
Alright. Alright, so now I'm just coming ahead on my
about to send over the tag line and get you a forward spring. Stern is closing in pretty fast. Looking like a good 4 wide.
Okay, now he's saying the stern is closing in fast. He means the bow.
I would try to hold it right there for me.
Alright. bow, and they're gonna put a line up there.
On our bow, probably holding about a good 3-4 wide. Got you a first line. About to wrap her up, and you can go ahead and work into her.
Very good. I'm coming into it now. There we go. She's starting to get over that way all the time. So I've got 2 in clutch right now, but being a heavy barge, nothing really happens. I got to give it a little power to make anything happen because this barge is so heavy. There we go. Now, unfortunately, they're not pulling up that slack, and I kind of wish they were. But it's probably all right because they're not bow to bow yet anyway, and hopefully they have that figured out. In other words, we're going to have to come ahead anyway. Oh, no, looks like maybe they are going to start picking up the slack. Good deal. That's a local colloquialism that obviously with maritime roots, when you say, hey, we need to really start picking up the slack. Well, here's a perfect example of where that came from. We need to pick up the slack in the line. Okay, so now I've got all stop. I'm just coasting. I'm doing 0.5 knots, and I've put my rudder hard to port so that when we start coming into this line, that's going to pull the bow over. And when I start twisting back here, in fact, I'm going to start slowing this thing down because we're still doing 0.5. I've been out of gear all this time and it just won't slow down. So
Alright, Cal, we making her off. Slowly coming in tight on her.
Very good. Still back and still 0.5 knots ahead. Takes a lot of energy to start moving it. There it goes, 0.4. Okay, so I'm kind of hooked up astern on my port engine.
Coming tight.
Now I'm going to start doing a left-hand twist. And what that left-hand twist is going to do is pull the bow out and the stern's going to come in. But I want to come ahead a little bit more than I go back. And the reason why is that will hold me. If I just do a twist, the bow will pop out more. But if I come ahead a little bit more, that bow line will have tension.
We're riding about with the DS 304. The spring line you got, you can go ahead and work into it. She's nice and tight. We can get you another bow line.
Very good. So there we go. So, like I said, I'm doing a left-hand twist. For those that don't know, that means that the rudder is hard to port, or hard to the left. The starboard engine is ahead, and the port engine is astern. And I'm going just a little bit faster ahead than I am astern, just because I want to keep pressure on that bow line so that the bow doesn't pop out.
Hey, Cal, you keep pushing the head. We're starting to fall back a little bit.
Yes, sir. See, you must have heard me. Now, having a heavy barge like this, we can still maneuver. It just means everything happens a lot slower. Okay, so now I've gone all stop with my port engine, and I'm just clutch ahead on my starboard engine. Rudder is still hard over to starboard, to port, excuse me. I'm gonna drink some more coffee. In fact, because we're closer here in the stern than we are in the bow, I'm gonna start to center my rudder, and that will slow the stern down and hopefully start bringing the bow over. There we go, that seems to be working for the stern. You can see that bow line is starting to get a little dip in it just because we're coming ahead into the spring line. Now I give it just a little bit more left wheel just to slow the bow down a little bit. And I'm almost up against on the stern.
Alright, Cal. Touching against the DS 304, flat all the way near. Finna tie you up.
Very good, tie her up. Flat all the way near. That's a new one for me. It's fun working with other guys that talk a little different than you do. Alright, so my next ship. Oh, there it is right there. Let me give you guys a. Oh, I tied it up. Let me tell you what we're doing. So this is us right here. And we just went from here to here. But we've got to get, we did this so we could get access to that barge up there. we need to pull it out sideways and bring it all the way down here and go to this ship right here. And then we'll be good. Alright, so they're just going to tie this up, and this video is going to get really long if I just let this run. So stand by. I'll see you when we go and get underway with the next barge. And we're back. Checking with traffic again. Traffic from the Anacostia.
Anacostia.
Good morning. We're over at 51, made up made up in push gear with the loaded tank barge, double skin 301. We're 400 by 13 deep draft on the tug, and we'd like to get off the dock, turn around, and head over to go ship side 68 alongside the Triton. How copy?
Under your copy, send a bunch on 1 underway, Captain.
Very good, thank you. Ooh, it's getting hot with that sun.
Security Commodore, man. What's up here?
Pull the shades down a little bit. Now this barge is loaded as well, but it should be a little bit easier to wrangle because it's a 30 barge instead of a 50 barge. That'd be 30,000 barrels as opposed to 50,000 barrels.
Traffic begins to Rose 14.
So I've got the rudder hard right now, and I'm just going to kind of clutch, do a right twist and clutch, just to kind of lift the stern out, get the bow a little closer for them to move those lines. Trey, how's it look for the bow to lay up there? Is it going to be all right?
It looks like we got this little rubber pad right here on the bow. Yeah, you're fine. You can go ahead and pivot off of it.
All right, good job. All right, he wins points for me there, knowing what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm worried about. So now I can roll in. See, where this dock used to, 100 years ago, they'd have all fendering down here. But now we just roll these old Yokohamas out and put them on cleats. And that's kind of us for barges.
All right, all lines clear.
All right, very good. You can tell the tankerman 0630 underway. So now, if you miss one of those Yokohamas, there's a possibility of having the metal of the barge go into the concrete, and it doesn't usually go well when that happens. So right now I'm just doing a nice easy twist. He says we're up against rubber. I'm feeling good all the way around. I'm getting some nice lateral movement back here in the stern, and that's okay. I want to keep that up because if you remember when I took that 50 out, I got sucked back towards the dock, and now instead of getting by one barge, I got to get by two barges. Traffic from the Anacostia, we are underway at this time.
Pivoting.
Right to that, Cap. Currently, I have no reported that OOCL Gang 2 at the Sam Bridge, Thunder First 76.
Okay, good copy on all, thank you. 76, I believe, is on the other side of 68 from us. So that we should not run into them. Should not be an issue whatsoever. We still looking good up there, Trey? Hey, Trey. Yo, Trey, you around here?
Yeah, Kevin, I didn't hear what you said.
Are we still looking good up there?
Yeah, we still fine up here.
Oh, you gave me a heart attack. I thought you'd fallen in the water. I couldn't see you behind the lamppost.
No, we still looking good.
All right. Just a little bit more. I should be able to go right out of here. See these forklifts moving the containers over here? When they put a whole bunch of containers over there, it's kind of nice because it gives me a wind break. Come in here with a light barge and the wind's blowing. I don't mind it coming at me or coming behind me, but when it's coming side too, it's really hard sometimes to control things. All right, man, we're just about ready to do our thing.
Alrighty. Slowly filling her off now.
I'm just getting ready to.
Copy that.
So now I'm gonna, while I'm still in this twist, I'm bringing my rudder amidship, and I'm gonna take my port engine that has been forward, and I'm gonna put it astern, and I'm gonna hook the two of them up, and hope that I don't go making a big turn like that, like it usually does over here. All right, here we go. So my rudder is amidship. I'm gonna back hard on two engines and try to get me by the other barge.
Alright, she's falling off the dock now, about a good 2 wide.
Very good. Alright, I can see that if you look at the mast on the barge, you can see it's moving that way just a little bit. That means that my stern is falling in. It's not so bad yet. I think we're all right so far, but it certainly isn't great. All right, we're all right. Security call, Anacostia, 51 to 68 shipside. There's a survey boat or...
Looks like you got a little boom boat behind you.
He's fine.
I think he's trying to get out of the way.
Excellent, good eyes, man. Thank you. This new guy's gonna be all right. It's kind of funny when I start pointing out to you that there's a little guy back there that I'm worried about, and then he says, "Okay, now look at them. Now it's going the other way. Isn't that interesting?" Now what that means is I gotta get back, since the bow is falling in. I gotta get back far enough so it doesn't hit the barge. You know what I mean? So I don't want it to go whack like this and hit the barge. Hey, you let me know when we look good on your side there, because she's falling in on that way towards the 503.
Copy that.
Okay, we're doing 4 knots astern, which is kind of rolling, so I'm going to go all stop and just let it coast now. I think we're good on that barge.
Alright, we are now about a 503. Probably holding about a good 40-45 wide.
Very good. So while we are coasting back at about 3.8 knots, I'm putting my rudder hard to starboard.
Opening it up about a good 50 wide now.
Because I'm going to come ahead with both engines to start snapping this thing around. And I've got some construction barges behind me, so I want to make sure that I don't go crashing into them. But we can still come back a little bit. I'm going to put my port engine in gear, just get it locked
Alright,
up.
opening it up about a good 60 wide.
Put my starboard engine in gear. What I'm saying is the torque converter locks up. Takes a little while to get locked up there. So now they're both locked up, so when I put the hammer down, we'll be able to go. We're down to 2.5 knots astern, still coming astern. I'm watching the construction barges behind me. All right.
About a good 70 wide now. Looks like you good to turn.
All right, here we go. So now, coming ahead on both engines, that will stop my aft movement and start spinning us around. Okay, so now I'm going to stop. I'm going to put my starboard engine in neutral, slow down the port engine because I don't want to go flying ahead. Now I'm going to start twisting again just because I don't want to go flying into the barge ahead of me. So we got it coming around through 85 degrees.
About to have a good 60 feet in front of us. Getting ready to clear the stern of the 503.
Very good. All right. So for those of you that might be new to the channel, I have something called a predictor line, which is That's what we call it, but it's more accurately it's called a vector line. And the vector line is it's the difference between our actual heading and our GPS heading. So in other words, our GPS doesn't know.
Already up out and clear the turn up to 503.
Very good. A GPS just goes and takes a dot here and then a dot here and connects a line between them and says that that's where you're pointed. And that's not exactly right. So in other words, if you back up and you don't have a heading sensor, it'll turn your perspective around 180 degrees because you're backing up, and it doesn't know that you're backing up. It just thinks that that's the way you're headed now. Where if you have a gyro, or in our case a GPS compass with a gyro for error, that will show you your actual, wherever the bow of the tug is pointing, that's going to show that on the chart plotter. But we still need...
Oh yeah, we're giving this barge 2 water cap. I don't know when the next time we need to top off with water, or when the last time you had water, but we're giving them water just to let you know.
Very good. Good job. We actually have to go and we have an appointment back at in Court Street at noon today, so we'll have plenty of time to get all watered up. So we're going to go up here and we're going to have to spin around again and go port side 2. And I think it's this, yeah, it's this first green ship up here on the right.
Copy that. I'm just going to chill in there with the tankerman.
All right, very good. Yeah, so that you would wonder why we would want to know our inaccurate GPS heading when it's not the actual heading of the boat, especially when we have a gyro and or a GPS compass. And the reason why is it's actually telling you your actual movement, as opposed to which direction you're pointed. For instance, right now it looks like I'm pointed right out the channel, but my movement is actually towards the end of the dock over here. Now, as we start getting more weight on us, that line will start coming over a little bit, and we'll be good. Like right now, it's coming over a little bit more, but that's because as the barge turns, as the tug turns. Where is the phone up here? I'll find where to. Well, I hear it ringing, but I don't know where. There it is. Oh, they hung up on me. All that for naught. So that predictor line is something that's very helpful for us sometimes to show us our lateral movement. Now, as we come by this great big ship over here, it'll give me an opportunity to look for where I think the connection's going to be. These great big ships usually have unlike the older style that had the wheelhouse aft, they're so big that if they're aft, they have to look like a mile ahead to see anything because they can't see over the containers. So they'll have a forward wheelhouse and then an after engineering section. And what that usually leaves us with is usually 2 different fueling doors, one for one type of cargo and one type for another. And the different cargoes would be like, they'll use heavy fuel when they're offshore in unregulated waters because it's cheap, and then they'll use what they call maneuvering fuel or low sulfur diesel when they're mandated to, like they are in our waters. And as far as what we are dropping off today, I haven't asked anybody. I could look in the computer and it would tell me, but quite frankly, I don't really care. We just drop the barge off and let them do what they're doing, and then we're off to the next job. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to come in here with the bow towards the ship and then spin around like that and then come back to the ship. Problem is I'm doing 8.8 knots right now, which is really flying. I need to get some way off because that's like a ridiculous amount of speed.
Try to get by, you probably make better time than I am. I appreciate it.
So I'm right back in clutch now. We're down to 8.5. Let this this thing cool off a little bit. I say cool off, not being literal here. It's a figurative way of saying that, slowing down. So like I say, I'm aiming for the stern of the ship, and then hopefully I'll do a counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, if you're on the other side of the pond, turn and put her somewhere alongside the ship. And when I do this, I really want to be after the ship so I can drive up to the spot. If I do it right at the spot, then I'll come alongside the ship at like a 45-degree angle, and I won't have any room to maneuver. So if I do it further aft, I'll be able to, if I come at a 45-degree angle, I'll be able to drive up and flatten out at the same time. All right, we're down to 6.8 knots. Still all this time just in clutch, and it's just going with the way of the barge. Even with little barge, we still got a lot of product on here. I believe this translates out to about 1.6 million gallons, something like that. Fun little fact, many of these ships have enough fuel to go to where they are from and back and forth a few times. So in other words, they don't have to get fuel at their destination. For instance, if I were to tow a barge from here to Europe, we certainly have the tankage to do that, but we wouldn't be able to turn around and tow it all the way back. We'd have to fill up again in the Azores or whatever, you know, or over there in Europe itself. Well, big ships like this, they have a huge, you know, a huge amount of range. Sometimes up to 10 to 20,000 miles worth of range, and they can get fuel anywhere. But many of them choose to fuel here in the United States because of our low fuel prices. And if you're paying at the pump and you say, "Oh my God, I'm paying too much," it's actually everyone in the world has been paying a lot more than we have for as long as we've been alive. The U.S. subsidizes the oil industry through tax breaks and land leases and different sorts of things like that, and it results in very inexpensive fuel. So international shipping seizes their opportunity and comes in and tops up whenever they can. All right, so this first part right here is the underneath the wheelhouse, and I'm going slowly looking to see if I see a oil connection point. And this is where you can, if you look right over here, let me see, right over there, you see the life raft, the lifeboat there. I'm thinking there's a connection there, but there's probably one in the engineering section too. So now we're down to 4.3, which is a good speed for us. I'm a little bit further off of the ship than I'd like to be, but that's okay. We got to come back anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. I am looking over here and I don't see anything as far as an oil connection right there. Oh, wait a minute, there's a black thing right there. That might be covering up the oil, but I doubt it. If they're going to receive it today, they probably have it unwrapped, I would think. All right, so our next one is where the engineering section is over here. And you also see this place over here that says no tugs. That's a little door that opens up, and that's probably usually for boarding pilots, but sometimes they'll open that up, and that's where they'll have a have the connection right inside those doors. Trey, ask the tankerman what his thoughts are. I'm thinking right above the white part there where the engineering section is.
That'd be probably my best guess right now. I've never done this one, but I didn't see anywhere back there underneath the pilot house, did you?
No, I didn't. That's exactly right. I did not see it. All right, so I'm going to spin around, and then I'd like to get that Panama chalk right there, but I'm thinking it's going to be too close to the rake for us to get it for the first one. You know what I mean? But let me land on the rake, see if we can get some movement. It might take them a half hour to get guys out here. And then I'll be backing up all the time, and we'll see if we can get one of those Panama chalks.
All right, sounds good. We'll work something out. But I believe it's all going to be right back here on this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I see that little crane right there. I think that's exactly right. All right, cool, man. We're going to be starting doing a counterclockwise turn.
Roger.
So because I need to end up over here, I want to keep coasting. Put the two of them back in clutch. We're down to 2.8 knots. I want to go by the ship and turn around so that way I can get back to the ship without an issue. Okay, now I put my rudder hard to starboard because I was falling off of the ship. When I put them in gear, you can see the bow is coming over towards that black ship ahead of us, so we don't want to do that. We want to go the other way. Alright, it's going to take me a little while to get going, so I'm going to put the rudder hard over to port. And in fact, I'm going to stop my port engine, and I think I'm going to start backing on it. I'm not really going to do a real twist per se, just using it to kind of be a dead leg, you know, to kind of give a little bit of resistance, because I'm going to start coming ahead pretty hard on my starboard engine. Here we go. Now I'm going to watch the stern of the tug, because the stern is starting to shoot over towards the back of the ship, but I think we're going to be fine. Oh yes. Shouldn't be an issue. Alright, so now we're doing 3 knots. So now I'm going to start really backing up. Before, where I just had it in clutch, dragging that dead leg, that dead engine, now I'm really backing on it a little bit harder because I don't want to get that far away from the ship when we spin around. Now we're down to 2.8 knots. Down to 2.4 knots. That's kind of good. So I'm going to ease up on my stern engine because I'm getting pretty close to this black ship back here. In fact, sometimes you guys like to see this. So I'm looking at the distance between here and here, and I think I will even back less. There we go. I'll go back and look again. Oh yeah, look at that. It's working beautiful. So I'm looking at the distance between the two. Now obviously the hull's going to come out this way. We're going that way, but we're going to be fine because we want to be as tight as we can to get over there. So there's a method to my madness. Alright, now we're starting to pull away from the ship, so I'm going to have to start backing up a little bit more to hold this in tight. There we go, you can see the stern moving pretty good. And I look up at the chart plotter, I see somebody coming over here. There's a little boat over there and a big ship. Here's this big ship, but he's going to the end here, so he shouldn't be an issue. So I think I'm going to be fine. So in other words, this ship is coming over here. So let me put you back in your spot over here. We will continue to rotate around. Okay, now that I've gone through 90 degrees of my turn, I'm going to start backing even more and coming ahead less. That will slow down the turn, but it will also keep me closer to the other ship, so I won't start going way out and around like that. I want to stay back here so I get a better shot at the ship. Alright, now we're starting to come back at about 0.7 knots. That's good. So now I can increase my power ahead and my starboard engine. Once again, we're doing a left twist. So the rudder is hard over to port. Starboard engine's ahead. Port engine's astern. You guys should start to see the ship that we're going to coming into frame pretty soon. Yeah, maybe not. A little bit more you will. I think those that have watched the channel for years are probably so sick of me explaining this, but I always seem to battle it with the people in the comments. That's actually cavitation. That's the shock waves of billions of very small steam bubbles. You say, what? Steam bubbles? Yes, that's exactly what it is. When you back and you have 10-foot propellers, the leading edge grabs water, and by the time it gets to the trailing edge, it's pulled the water into a vacuum. And so a lot of the bubbles you see are actually steam. And you say steam, but steam has to be hot. No, it doesn't. If you remember back in school, you could evaporate water just by taking a vacuum on it. So in other words, if we say water boils at 100 centigrade or 212 Fahrenheit, yeah, that's at 1 bar, at 1 atmosphere. But if we lower that down to, I think, 30 inches of mercury, water starts to boil then too, or I don't know exactly when it starts to boil, but it will boil at that. I only know that because if you're doing refrigeration or air conditioning, it's very common for after they break a line or something like that, they'll pull a vacuum on the system, not only to look for leaks, but if there is any moisture, the vacuum will boil the moisture out. Well, what happens is steam is 1,600 times the size of water, less dense, in other words. So what that means is that when you make a steam bubble, it collapses. It goes into this bubble, and then all of a sudden the bubble will collapse. And when it collapses, it makes a shock wave that results in a lot of vibration. And I always would get somebody in the comments telling me, "Oh, I had a pump and the pump was destroyed by cavitation." Yeah, the same thing.
All right,
but
we come in here about another 20 feet. Our bow will be even with their stern.
all right, very good. I got a bad feeling it's going to take us a while to find these guys, like to wrestle them out of bed. So I'm just going to slowly coast up here.
Somebody right there on the stern. I don't know if you see him by the line. I don't know if you can honk the horn or anything. Let them know.
All right. My horn's filled with water. Good deal.
That's a weak ass horn, Tim.
I know, huh? Okay, he sees us. Good deal. Good deal. So I'm just coasting at 2.3 knots. Rudder's hard over to port to try to get us over there, and we're all stopped. We're in neutral. But anyway, yeah, no, these tugboats, and it's not just tugboats, it's any ship. A ship, even if you're on a cruise ship, if they start maneuvering, you'll start hearing their bow thrusters vibrate and pop and do all kinds of stuff. And it's all the same thing. And there's some people...
All right, coming here about another 5-6 feet. I guess our bow will be passing the connections right here, holding about a good 20 wide.
All right, so my plan right now is to try to get basically on the flat. Then once I get on the flat, we get settled down, I'll start creeping astern because I don't want to fall in under the rig.
Copy that.
So then there's the people that have watched for the hunt for Red October or something, and they're like, "Oh, cavitation, very bad, very bad." Well, that's because they were on a submarine, and because of those shock waves, people can hear cavitation. If you're a sonar man in the Navy, you can hear that for hundreds of miles away. None of that applies to us here. These boats are built for it. We don't care about the cavitation. We want to build our tugs.
Holding about 10 on your bow.
All right. Like I said, we're going to go way by our spot. We'll get flat and then back up.
Copy that.
Yeah, so now I'm down to 1.3. So that's kind of a good speed for us. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rudder hard. You know what? I'm going to stop right here. While the rudder is amidship, I'm going to really get it stopped and then try to walk it over. You usually don't have much success walking a loaded barge. In this boat anyway. So now I'm going to put the rudder about 20 degrees to starboard, and I'm going to do a port twist. Actually, I'm putting it hard over. See what happens here. And what I think is going to happen is that we're going to start kind of leaning forward. Let me bring that back to about 20 degrees.
We still got a good 20 feet to come ahead to be where I want to be on spot rough.
Okay, good, good, good. I'm just going to start leaning over that way right now. Okay, you can see the bow is starting to come over. So, you know what? I just realized this 30 barge, like many of our 30 barges, has a square stern on it. And the problem with the square stern, as opposed to having a rake on it, is that the water goes sideways. See all that water that's going out there? That's our reverse water hitting the back of the stern. So that's almost giving them a thruster pushing us away. But you can see we're closing in right now on the dock. Or at least that's what I'm hoping we are. Can't believe we've got a guy out on deck. Usually it takes forever to do this. So right now we're just kind of hooked up astern, trying to keep it from going too far ahead. Now I'm coming ahead a little bit stronger with about 14 degrees of right wheel to try to walk over. If I put it hard over, meaning in other words all the way over to 40 degrees of wheel to the starboard side, the stern will come flying over, but the bow won't. By putting it closer to midship, I don't get as much movement in the stern, but the bow, I can either hold there or move the bow over laterally as well. And I think all of these things are happening right now, so we're looking pretty good. I'm looking at our predictor line. Our predictor line is showing about, it's not doing too good. It's showing about a 45-degree angle. So the predictor line isn't as optimistic as I am. I think I'm moving over there pretty well, but it doesn't think so. So I'm going to go, I've moved my rudder now to about 4 degrees to starboard. And
Alright, we're sending your first line up now.
very good. And by doing that, I'm trying to get the bow to get closer and closer. You see that bow is coming in all the time. And as that comes in, now I give it about 8 degrees, so I can slow that bow movement in and hopefully keep the stern from
I guess he's waiting on a friend because he stopped pulling it.
Can't work on that line. So the guy in the ship is exercising proper back safety, waiting for another guy to come help him, so we might end up having to wait for a while anyway. Alright, so it looks like the bow is just inching in. I want to give just a little bit more, so I got about 9 degrees now of, I'm starting to make stern movement to stern, so I need to go and ease up on the stern engine. Okay, now is the bow starting to come out? Maybe it's staying there. While we're waiting for this guy, I'm trying to flatten out all the time alongside the ship. Okay, we're starting to move ahead, so I'm going to start backing a little harder. And I got to be cognizant of the fact that as I get closer and closer over here, that quick water that's hitting the stern of the barge is going to start hitting the ship and giving us a little boost away from the ship, which is not what we want. Now we just wait for this guy. We wait and wait and wait. Oh, looks like he's got a friend coming now. I see a guy coming down. It looks like he found a friend. He's coming down now. know that these guys are going to be able to get that line for us. The bow is looking better. Still moving ahead, which I don't like. They'll get that line up there, and then I'll start backing up to try to back into position, and we'll use hopefully that line to keep the bow from falling off. At least that's the hope. Now I've said this in other videos, but probably it's okay to say it again. There's always somebody in the comments that will talk about the guys on the ship not heaving up the line as fast as they think that they can heave it up. And I don't know your situation. Maybe you're a real strong guy or not worried about a back injury or whatever, but one thing I can tell you is that the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, has recently raised the minimum wage of seafarers up to $22.50 per day. And unfortunately, most of these shipping companies will pay their help the bare minimum they have to. So as these guys haul this line up, and somebody wants to make a snide remark about it, remember, one, that you're not hauling it up.
Alright, Tim, we're going to probably back up a good 55 feet, and they're going to make it off on that forward cleat up there on the bow of the barge, and just let you work back in it.
Perfect. All right, here we go. Trey, can you... have they got that? Oh, okay, so he's not ready yet. All right. Okay, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Do they not have that on the bit?
They want it on the bow. Nah, it's on the bit, Tim. You can go back.
All right, good deal. So Trey, I need you to bring that line up to your bow, and that way, if our bow starts falling off, you can check up the line a little bit. This deckhand has come to us from our fleet that we have down in Norfolk. And I'm not suggesting that they do anything wrong back there. It's just that everywhere you go, we do things a little differently or say things a little differently. Okay, my stern is coming up underneath that rake, so I'm giving a left twist to lift the stern out. Jam the bow in. I'm just trying to keep out from underneath that rake, so I'm making my way back.
Yeah, Yoki got caught in the Panama chop.
Oh man, I didn't even see that. You want me to get over there for you? Okay, he's going to try to get a line on that.
No, I'm going to be fine. We got about 25 more feet to drop back. So you can slow her down.
Very good. Alright, so I'm just going to clutch ahead with 2 engines just to slow it down a little bit. He got that Panama chalk. So I've got the rudder at midship right now, just slowing us down.
Alright, let's hold it right here for just a second. I want to see something. I got one right here I can make you off.
You're the man.
Alright, we're making off this line on the bow.
Very good.
I need to try to see if my crane's going to reach or I'm going to have to use this other hose.
Alright.
Spot, I can put up another line here if we are.
We can drop back. We're going to probably have to drop back. I don't think our crane's going to reach. So we'll probably have to come back about 15 more feet.
Alright, you want to walk that line up to the next bit or no?
No, I'm dead across. I'll get a backing right here, then I'll get another forward lead off of it after we get back a little bit.
Alright. Okay, so let that line go in the bow. Here we go. We're going back 15 feet. Okay, falling in underneath the rake, so I'm doing a left twist now to lift the stern out. So any of you guys that have stuck with me this long, thank you so much. Battery's going to die here in any second now, and I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. watching. It's a long video, but some of you guys are always asking for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps out the channel. And big thanks to all my patrons. Any of you guys that want to join the Patreon team, I'll put a link in below. And don't forget, check out SV Paquita. Could use your help over there too. Thank you guys so much. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you on the water.